Just to wrap up with the Grand Rapids Council meeting for Monday, September 10th, 2018. Very short meeting this evening, but we are in preparation for some longer meetings coming up as we start getting our property tax information and our fiscal disparities information coming in, and then we can start looking at where we are from a tax standpoint going out into the next year's operating budget. The other thing that's coming up shortly is in October, on October 4th, we are going to be taking a council ride around town as we look at some of the streets and start reprioritizing streets and the needs from a standpoint of which one is worse and which ones can we get to in that time period. So we'll be doing that. Activities coming up here the end of this month and going out into October. We did have a couple of reports this evening from council. On Thursday night at 5:30 there's going to be a ribbon cutting at the Crystal Lake Park down there for the handicap swing that was put in there. And then we're continuing down the path of public art in Grand Rapids and where some of that public art will reside on whether it's on specific buildings or on some power boxes, working with the Public Utilities Commission. We will be doing that. On the consent agenda, that's where we had all of our activity this evening. There was actually only 8 items on the consent agenda, but a couple of them were around redevelopment and Iron Range Resources grants that help with the demolition and the redevelopment of properties. So we got a grant from IRRR for the former Sawmill Inn redevelopment project that continues to move down that path to completion. And then we also got a grant from IRRB for the Grand Rapids Classic Connection Trail. So if you were to go out Highway 63 from Highway 2 to that intersection where 76 and 63 connect, the trail system ends there, and we're looking at extending that trail on the north side of 63 all the way to Highway 2. So it's in conjunction with the City of Cohasset, and it's using some state funding in order to get some connectivity to connect those trails with the trails around Grand Rapids up into the Mesaba Trail, and eventually it will go the other direction as we tie into the Tioga Trail and the development of that project that the City of Cohasset was fortunate enough to get $1 million to help on the bonding side of getting that project going. We had a report this evening. Our department head report was by the police department. Assistant Chief Shar came in and talked a little bit. Some of our areas were actually up from the standpoint of activity, which is not good, but it certainly in times is not unexpected that you run through some of those kind of cycles where some activities are up. On burglaries and stuff and auto thefts, stealing out of automobiles, he did report that there was a significant increase in those activities over the past few months, but they were successful in catching some of the ones, and then since they had apprehended some of the ones that had been physically going out and stealing from cars, we have literally had no thefts from automobiles. So we're hoping that that number in the second half of the year will be significantly lower, and as a result the end of the year numbers will be lower as well across the PD. So with that, we're looking forward to getting back together on the 24th, 2 weeks from now. Hope everything's going well. School's back in operation, so continue to be observant if you're living or driving around the schools. Watch out for little ones and stuff. Take it easy out there. And there are a couple of times during the day. So 8 o'clock in the morning is always a busy time again. So have a little patience at some of the intersections. They are a little crowded at that 8 o'clock time frame, and the same thing in the afternoon at the 3:30 to 4 as the buses and parents are getting back and forth to some of these schools to try to pick up their kids. So if you've got some alternative routes that you can take to get what you need done without adding to that congestion, please do that. And I think you'll find that it's a little bit quicker for you in the long run. So with that, we look forward to seeing everyone in 2 weeks. Have a good evening.